Want to stop your parent from feeling like a burden? Most parents who move in with their kids eventually feel like a burden. Why do aging parents so often end up sad when they're surrounded by love? So why does it feel heavier every month? It's not that they became dependent, it's that we took their purpose away. The problem isn't love, it's the imbalance created by care that only flows one way. Over time, that imbalance breeds guilt and depression. You meant to repay love, but somehow mom ended up feeling guilty. Care that removes contribution removes dignity too. It feels right to repay the favor, but it shifts the parent from provider to dependent. Receiving without giving triggers guilt, then burden, then withdrawal. They've spent their lives providing. Losing contribution feels like losing identity. But if you don't give that mom or dad purpose in their recovery stage, as soon as they can have it, no joke, it's just as soon as they can have it. But that can look different. It can be they're paying their bills independently, so we're paying their bills together, to the loved one is telling you where the bills are, to filling out the form, to telling you who to call. Somehow participate. You want the loved one to participate in their care versus passive participation, which is done for them. Doing everything for them is the fastest way to make them feel useless. They don't need pity. They need participation. Dignity lives in contribution, not comfort. Everyone needs a role. Not out of obligation, but out of self-worth. Safe, simple tasks: folding laundry, stirring soup, sorting mail, cutting an onion. If they can do it, they should, even in smaller ways. Doing with preserves autonomy. Doing for accelerates decline. Patient had a stroke a year ago. They went into rehab. They came home, and the loved one did everything for them, which looks a lot like TV watching, because they used to be busy. And instead of them being able to participate and being encouraged to participate with the family dynamic, with their care, versus for them, they now watch a lot of TV. So basically they wake up, they eat, waste away, wake up, eat again, go to sleep. But that's what it looks like, which is sad. If they can participate in their life, they should. If they can help dress themselves, they should. They can raise their arms versus you raising the arm for them to put on their shirt. They can, if they can't raise their arms, can they choose what shirt they want to wear? Can they make a choice? You know, just a lot of times caregiving becomes speed-based. But if that's your goal, how can I get taking care of mom done the fastest way possible? If that's your goal, those chores that you're now doing will be for the rest of your life. It's not what's best for your mom in this case, and it's not what's best for you. At the beginning, it's front-loaded, as in it takes a lot more time to help mom get dressed, make sure she eats, takes her medications, pays her bills. It takes a lot more time if she participates as she is able, at the level she is able. But over time, you as the caregiver will have to participate in less of the activities. It's what makes mom not feel like a burden. And it's a win-win. The caregiver will end up doing less, and the person being cared for will end up doing more, feeling more independent. The more independent they feel, the more like themselves they feel. The more like themselves they feel, the happier they feel. They lost independence, but you can still give them control. What's the difference between caring and caretaking? They want to matter again. Interdependence keeps families balanced. Codependence breaks them. Happiness often equals independence. And that's gone, build interdependence. For example, they manage bills while you double check. So they do the activity they used to do again by themselves. And then you just make sure they did do it correctly. And then over time, you will be able to see what they can and cannot do. So they will, if you follow this pattern, they will always be doing a little bit more, which gets them closer and closer to the level they used to be at. Parents, caregiver burnout, and keeps both sides connected. Both equally participating in what they can participate in is what keeps both sides connected. It's a beautiful thing, helping somebody participate in the way they can. A modified independence. But it's a beautiful thing where parents, mom, dad are still doing what they can do, even in a diminished or lowered capacity. It will be mom is still mom. Dad was still dad after his stroke, in as much as he or she was able to do so. They can't complete the whole process now, but they can do half of it. Now all of a sudden family traditions are being carried on, are being passed on, in this case because they can't do it by themselves anymore. And so they're verbally telling you how to do whatever it is, like make the ribs, let's say. So they are still participating how they can. If they made those ribs as a special dish, they like to say, like a special dish for the family, now grandpa's ribs or dad's ribs are still there. He did what he could to make it happen. So he still is able to relish in what he was able to provide. Helping them participate in the way they can preserves dignity.